Project Nightmare, released on home video in 1987, but it was shot in like 1977, 87, so it came out like about 10 years after it was shot. And actually, the filmmakers had gone on and made some other movies, and they had been released on home video before Project Nightmare came out. Recently, Project Nightmare has been re-released by Intervision on DVD in a double feature with the director's later movie Murder Lust. Ooh, Murder Lust was a big title in the home video market. But Project Nightmare is Project Nightmare. I mean, the cover for Project Nightmare is very well known. And when I saw the cover for Project Nightmare, I realized that I had actually bought it on VHS years ago. I bought it in one of these Academy VHS editions, the kind you used to pick up at Saturday Matinee for like $2, $1, literally like 50 cents. These things were like the cheapest tapes ever made, and literally half of them would not even play. They would not track up. They were literally like, they would just have like just fuzz on the tape. They'd have video static when you played them. They were that crappy. I think I got the Alien Dead on one of those, and you could tell it was Academy put them out, but they had these generic gray spines. All of these things, they were the tape, the case, the videotape, the cardboard case was like the worst printing and had these generic gray spines. But Project Nightmare was released on that, but I didn't watch it until this recent Intervision DVD release, and oh boy, I was in for a treat. I really liked it. I've read a lot of the snarky reviews online for it and everything, and I was prepared for something that wasn't really that great, but I really thought it was an interesting film. It's been compared recently to Cabin in the Woods, but it's really, I would compare it more so to like really Andrei Tarkovsky's Stalker or Solaris or Forbidden Planet. Really, the writer, James Lane, or the co-writer, because he wrote it with the director Donald M. Jones. In the commentary track on the DVD, he says he was really inspired by Forbidden Planet to make the thing, because apparently Donald M. Jones wrote half of it, and then he wrote another half of it according to the film. According to the film commentary. But an interesting film. The film starts out with two friends camping in the woods, Gus and John, and they wake up one morning, and whenever we see this, we hear this in prologue, it's saying, hey, we woke up this morning and there was this mysterious thing that had run through their campsite and ripped everything apart and was chasing them through the woods, this mysterious like energy, like in Forbidden Planet, like this invisible energy thing. And so they find themselves running through the forest being chased by this invisible energy. Gus and John, they eventually meet up with this mysterious woman, Marcy, and it's a takeoff on Forbidden Planet and Solaris. Weird things start to happen, things start to materialize and dematerialize, and it's really you can't really categorize it in any type of genre. It's just one of those movies one of those oddball movies. When I was watching it, to me, it reminded me of like those, like 70s religious movies, like Mark of the Beast type of, like religious prophecy films. Like they're running through the woods, and I thought, eventually it's gonna be like some kind of religious prophecy thing. Or also that movie Equinox, where these young kids are running through the woods chased by some kind of demonic evil. It reminded me of that as well. But the rhythm of the film, the way the characters talk to each other, and it's all dubbed. They shot this movie with a very loud 35mm camera, so they did ADR, they dubbed in all the dialogue, and so it has this kind of kind of artificial feel to it. and it does give this thing a kind of a mood and an atmosphere that's very unique. This kind of artificial dub dialogue, and the dialogue that is there is really kind of enigmatic and strange. And you know, we don't really see the opening assault on the campers. We just hear the campers talking about it. And so there are all these things that are going on in the background that we're not really aware of, and it does make for a very kind of mysterious, kind of enigmatic experience. And then there is a payoff in the end. It's maybe not a payoff that the average moviegoer could, you know, understand or really get or enjoy. But I mean, I love the dynamics of these characters, John and Gus. John's like the kind of blonde-haired, kind of traditional, like David Soul-esque kind of handsome guy. And then his friend Gus is this kind of really troubled person. You could tell he has he's full of emotional turmoil. And it adds a kind of interesting dynamic. And I really enjoyed the movie. Really a different unique film. The DVD is remastered. It's a full screen transfer. It's a 4:3 transfer. But I watched it actually on an HD TV, and I watched it cropped, zoomed in to 16:9, and yeah, no heads were cut off. It was obviously shot with the intention of being matted, and even in the commentary, James Lane talks about how it was shot with the intention of being matted. Beautiful looking film, by the way. This thing is shot in the California area, wooded area, so it's just these beautiful woods and parks and the droning electronic soundtrack, the droning eerie electronic soundtrack is very enjoyable to me. It may not be enjoyable to other people, but then every once in a while there's these little moments where there's these interludes with these little bells, chimey music with these haunting little melodies. The soundtrack is very good as well. The filmmaker behind this movie, because that's the most important thing I wanted to talk about. This guy, Donald M. Jones. It's very important that you not mix him up with another filmmaker, Don Jones, because I watched a show, I've listened to some podcasts where they're mixing these guys up, and as far as I know, two separate people. Don Jones is a well-known director. He started out in the Army, became a boxer, moved to Hollywood, got involved with stunt work, made all these movies like Schoolgirls in Chains, what are the Don Jones movies? The Forest, all other types of like horror movies. That is not the same Don Jones that made Project Nightmare and Murder Lust and a few other movies. Donald M. Jones. Don Jones, different guy. Donald M. Jones. Donald M. Jones was this guy who was born in California and met this guy James Lane, and they started making movies like Project Nightmare and Murder Lust and other things. But they keep getting mixed up, and it's difficult to mix it. I mean, it's difficult to separate them. Easy to get them mixed up because Donald M. Jones, this guy doesn't seem like he's made many movies, you know? He's like other, you know, filmmakers with day jobs, other lives, other things, and but very enigmatic. I mean, I tried to look for an interview with Donald M. Jones, and I didn't see it. I don't know if he's still alive. I assume he's still alive because he seems to have a YouTube page where he's posting stuff, but it seemed odd that he didn't want to do an interview or talk about his movies, Murder Lust or Project Nightmare. I don't know. I hope he had a good experience with them. But James Lane does provide a lot of interesting commentary, and he has some interesting things to say about Murder Lust and Project Nightmare. But it still is kind of enigmatic because I don't know. I mean, there's pictures. There's lots of pictures of Donald M. Jones on the IMDb that someone must have posted. I'm always interested in these types of out of the way filmmakers, and it bothers me that there's so many crisscrosses online. There's so many people confusing Don Jones with Donald M. Jones. So they're different. Donald M. Jones, Project Nightmare, interesting film. There you go.